Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Here we are, Mr. Crocket. Brandon, talk to me about taking this from a short film to a feature film.
It was a fun process. I think just to be able to expand this world and to build out just the intricacies of Mr. Crockett's world and really show this journey of a mom trying to get her son back. It's almost like picking up where we left off with the short. So I was just very excited to go on that journey, and that WorthenBrooks and Hulu were both down to go on that journey with me.
Was it a challenge adapting it to a longer feature, or did you know that was always the game plan?
In the back of my head, that was always the game plan. I think it's a character that I've always wanted to add to like this group of like iconic horror villains. You got your Michael, Jason, Freddy, and Candyman. And so I thought like Mr. Crockett, I'm like, this might be a perfect one to add to that. And so I think, I wouldn't be doing it justice if I didn't tell that feature story with him.
Elvis, this is something different for you. Obviously, I'm used to seeing you being the one that's on the opposite side. Here you are, the tormentor, so we say. What's that feeling like taking on this character?
Felt great. Felt like a lot of fun. It felt like I was supported by an amazing team over at WorthenBrooks and Hulu. So, the direction of and the writing of Carl Reid and Brandon just really set up the stage for me to just immerse myself into this world and just have fun. And, it was very colorful for me. So being able to play Mr. Crockett as this guy who really cares about these kids and is there to be their best friend and have their best interest, but also to have that, that other side, was really, really exciting for me.
Kristolyn, it's not always easy for everybody that says, okay, I just want a job, but this is a horror film. And a lot of what your work has to do with facial expressions. So what led you to saying yes? And then did you work on your facial expressions?
I felt like my time in theater in New York really prepped me to just be a part of this insane world. And getting to take on a character that has to show up emotionally immediately was actually a lot easier. Carl and Brandon wrote a really good script, and the set design made it feel very real. So, and I like having a camera on me, so.
All right, Ayden, you're the small one in the group. Did you have your parents on set all the time? Did you go through counseling after this movie was done?
My mom was on set.
Okay.
You go through counseling? You had to go through therapy or anything?
Now, do you have a favorite toy that you grew up with that at some point your parents says you got to stop playing with it?
It was a Spider-Man toy, and I loved it. And then she said I got too old of it, and then she told me to just put it away.
And that goes for the rest of you. Was there a favorite toy or a program that you just couldn't stop either playing with it or stop watching it to a point where your parents had to say, turn off the TV or stop playing with the toy until you grew out of it?
Mm-hmm.
Man, with me, it was probably like, I think it was probably just all like video games when I was young, like Tekken, like Street Fighter and stuff like that. Like that's the main thing where they're like, turn this off.
What about you, Elvis? Was there anything that you grew up with? Like, we all grew up watching something. Then sooner or later we grew out of things. But was there anything that you just latched onto, whether it was a toy or a TV show?
Yeah, I still haven't grown out of it. I still watch the Honeymooners, the Akpobome. I'm a big TV guy. So I was raised by a single parent,
but not excessively to the point where your parents are going to say, "Stop watching the Honeymooners."
Nah. I had to separate myself at some point from Mighty Mouse and Casper.
Brandon, how much gore did you want in this? This is not a story for just kids. When people watch this, and then there's certain languages, and then the gore of it all. Did your team allow you to go this far, or they were like, "Nah, it's for Hulu, it's Halloween, you got to scale back a bit"?
No, I mean, I was very fortunate that they didn't tell me to scale back at all, and especially with the team that I was able to have on between like Master Effects. I wanted to take advantage of all the gore. I wanted as much gore as I can. I wish I could have had more. I think more gore is great for me.
Hey, Ayden, have you watched horror films in the past? Did your parents let you watch horror films?
Well, I'm allowed to. Yeah, I've watched horror films in the past.
You know, and what about you, Kristolyn? You know, are you a fan of the genre?
Um, when I auditioned, I actually told Brandon I grew up in a very religious environment, and I ended up doing missionary work, and I experienced a lot of supernatural things over working in Southeast Asia. So there was something very finite for me when that was done, that horror films were just not my thing. They're just scary. But when I auditioned for this, it felt very fun and real to just jump into.
What's the ultimate goal, Brandon, that you want to do? Obviously, people are going to start to get to know you. Obviously, you premiere this movie at the Fest, and it's going to be coming out on Hulu. Where do we go from here after? Is this a genre you're going to stay in, or do you have other types of projects you're ready to come out?
I mean, I would love to, outside of horror, explore like anything within the fantasy drama. I mean, the fantasy genre. I think I want to just, I'm a huge fan of Black 90s cinema, and I've always wanted to see horror, supernatural elements infused within those stories. And so, just playing around with different periods, constantly pushing the limits, showcasing alternate worlds and like just the deep complexities of the human mind. So, like, I mean, I would love to go as far as, making superhero movies, or just like keep on building on different horror villains, or like, I think
Now, this movie is set in 1993. So was that purposely done so that way you didn't have to worry about technology?
I mean, with technology is one thing. The VHS, also 93, I think was one of the best years in music. And so I really want to capture the era and that type of essence of person. Like Janet Jackson, Poetic Justice was a huge inspiration for the style of Summer's character. And I think just like the style and the culture in general, that was so rich. And I wanted to see a Black horror film from that time. So
Elvis, do you think Mr. Crocket is going to be at the same level as Freddy Krueger and Jason?
I think it's gonna, I am gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it, but I think that Mr. Crocket, I think those films don't have nothing on Mr. Crocket.
I don't know. They both went after kids.
Hey,
they lasted
what will be revealed, Wilson?
We need longevity. Longevity is going to be with the lasting power of Mr. Crocket. Folks, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Let's keep it going. Let's get an audience to watch this so they can talk about it. Brandon, let's get more from you down the road. Don't let this be a one and done. Everybody else, I'm sure you're going to be working down the road. Elvis, I know I'm seeing you project after project. Let's keep it, make it happen. Make it so. Let's create the synergy, and we'll talk again.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Wilson.
Thanks, Wilson.
Thank you, Wilson.
Yeah, folks.